All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Jeff Beal here, Memorial Athletic Club, Parisi Speed School, home of the Training for Warriors in Houston. And I am here to take you through workout or session number 21. Number 21. Alice Jones is on. Good morning, Alice. Good to see you. So I wanted to kind of go through some stretches, some flexibility work, and these are actually the stretches that we would use with our Max Screen and Stretch program that we have at the Memorial Athletic Club. And so the way that works is that you would sign up for an appointment when we open back up, and then you would get assessed, and then we would find out through these assessments and these screens of where you're tight, where the flexibility needs to be worked on. And most predominantly, guys, it's going to be in the on the front side of your body, like your neck, your chest, your hip flexors, the lower leg, the calves, especially for the one that wear high heel shoes all the time. You sit at a desk a lot, so see how everything kind of concaves forward. It's a very, very common issue here in the United States. And people that have day jobs and things like that. Even if you don't have a day job, people have a tendency to sit in front of a computer. So I'm going to go through all these stretches, and this is something you would probably want to do after you've done your run or your bike. It's not something that you really want to do before a workout, but after a workout. So you notice I do a lot of dynamic warm-ups before our workouts, and dynamic warm-up is what you should do prior to a warm-up or prior to a workout, and then something like I'm about to do now is something you would do after the workout. So, good morning, Souza. And so let me get my sheet out. So there are 12. I actually added a couple new ones last night, which is the quad stretch and also the lion torso spine stretch. And I'll even show you a couple other ones that I could not find pictures for. But I think you'll really enjoy these, and you can do these along with me. Good morning, Jenny, and good morning, Sandra. Hope you guys are going to be joining me this morning with the stretch. So let's start with number one. Number one is called the glute stretch, and I've got a couple different illustrations here, pictures. One is a lying on your back option, and the one is like the pigeon or my 90-90. Teresa's on. Good morning, Teresa. All right, so let's start with that one. So I think I'm going to scoot this up just a tad. So I've actually already gone on my walk this morning with my dog. I was doing some gardening. I've been kind of worn out from all the workouts this week, so one definitely a little lighter. Still got some more gardening to do, but this is something good to do after a workout. So I can lay here on my back, right? I've got one leg crossed like this. And so some people, this is enough. Some people need to bring that leg up, reach between your legs, and then pull your leg towards you. And you're going to hold these stretches for about 20 seconds. And somebody who's really flexible, like my daughter, so this isn't doing anything, and she'll actually bring her foot all the way here to her chest while her foot is still on the leg. And some people are just really flexible like that. And even in this position, you can even push the leg away, or you can even pull across this way. So even in this position that I showed you, you can hold this one here, you can put your foot down, you can push away, you can pull across. Also, let's say like you've got something you can put your foot up against, which is one of my favorite ways to do this. So if I put my foot up here, and then I can get in a little closer, and now I get a nice stretch that way. So that would be one of the glute stretches, and you would want to do each side of don't just do the right side and then neglect the left. Make sure you get both sides. And I'll even say this too, like let's say like your right glute is tighter when you get in the position. Maybe you want to do that one twice as much. Okay? So let me show you the other one, which in yoga is called the pigeon. I am not very good at this one, but that's why I do a lot of the 90-90 stretch that you see me doing. So it's the same thing. So here's the 90-90. and I would come down like this. But the option that we have here is where this leg extends back, and this leg ideally wants to be perpendicular to you, and the hips come straight down, and then you lay over the top this way. So then I would want to come into this stretch and hold it for about 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, and then I would switch sides. And again, I'm not really flexible in this part of my body. My anatomy in this area just doesn't allow for me to get into these stretches that well. But not too bad today, actually. And then, so I'm just gonna hold this stretch and try to breathe into the tightness and see if I can get that area to release in those stretches. So those are two good ones for the glutes, and also the 90-90 that I like to do as well. Those are good. Nice little sunshine this morning. I thought it was supposed to be stormy. I guess that's coming later. Then I've got the side lying quad stretch, and the quad is the front part of your thigh. Okay, so if I lie on my side, and this is the best way to do this. I'm going to show you a couple of different options. So if I'm lying on my side and I grab the top leg, I can hold this position right here where the heel is coming right in towards the glute. And you're going to hold this position for about 20 to 30 seconds. Now, this is not doing too much for me, so I'm actually going to lie face down. And now I'm going to grab this way, and then this is a little bit more of a stretch, okay? But the one I really like for the quad stretch for me is going to be where I reach around and grab that same foot with both hands. And then I even turn my head to the side of the leg I'm trying to stretch, okay? And that one, so I gave you 3 different levels for the side, for the quad stretch. Either go on your side, you go face down with one hand, or you go face down with 2 hands. And those are, I think, you just need to find the right level for you, okay? So let's move on to the hamstring next. So the hamstring, as we know, is a muscle that runs on the back side of the body here, upper leg, and they attach right below the knee here, and they come up and attach in the bottom part of your glute. And for whatever reason, those get pretty tight sometimes. So I'm gonna lay on my back, all right? And I'm gonna bring one leg in like this, okay? So then what I wanna do is I'm going to see if I can extend this leg up straight. So while I'm holding back here, I'm gonna extend the leg straight, okay? Now, some people will go and grab a towel, which I have a towel, a long towel, and wrap it around the foot this way, and then do it that way, okay? So this is gonna get a little bit more of the calf in there because it's over my foot pulling down this way, so it's getting the lower leg and the hamstring at the same time. And a lot of people have seen this one. But in order to, I think this is a really good one too, where you come in like that, and that, see how straight you can get your leg in this position here. Ideally, you want to get it at the same position from the knee to the hip. You want to see if you can get that ankle in line with that, which I'm not quite there yet. So, and then you could do the other side, the same thing. I'm just going to pull this chair out so I can show you the next version of the hamstring stretch. So you can have, well, I was going to do the seated one, but I'm not going to do the seated one yet. Let's do the standing one. So I'm going to bring my left heel up, okay? And then from here, what most people like to do is they like to try to put their head on their knee. And look at my back. My back is rounded and my neck is rounded. And those are 2 of the postures that you don't want to get into. So what I want to do is try to maintain a good posture here. And I'm just going to bring my trunk to my thigh. Bring my lower trunk towards my thigh. I don't need to bring my head down at all. And then I've got actually a really good stretch here. And I like that one. That one really seems to get a good stretch. And again, you could do 20 to 30 second stretch hold on that. Now, if you're in a seated position, another good option here is to have one leg out in front. Very similar to the standing one. This is actually a regression from the standing one that you just did, that I just did for you. is that now I can come down this way, and this is a lot easier method option of doing your hamstring stretch, okay? And some people, just being in this position is plenty, okay? But, so this one may be a little challenging for some people, and so that's when this option would be a better option to choose, okay? So, you've got three, actually I showed 4 hamstring stretches there. Oh, by the way, one of my favorite things to say is that when you're doing these stretches, if it feels like something's tearing, then it probably is. So what you don't want to do is go to that extreme stretch level, because you're actually probably going to do more worse than good. So think about it that way. If it feels like something's tearing, and it probably is, it should be a comfortable stretch. And I should have said it at the very beginning. Hopefully you've not felt any of that type of scenario going on. So now let's move into the hip flexor. So the hip flexor actually runs from the top of the knee all the way up, and it actually crosses over into this area of your hip. So there's actually a little bony protrusion right here that those hip flexors attach into. So again, when people sit like this all day, this area gets really shortened. When you stand up, it gets elongated. So we want to be in an elongated position to try to stretch this out. Now, real important here is I like to actually fold up a towel to do this. So I have a little bit more comfortable area to place my knee. And then I'm going to, from this position to here, I attach those 2 points, I'm going to come forward a little bit, okay? And then I don't want to let my lower back arch, so I've got a forward lean right here, starting to feel a little bit of a stretch here. Now, see if you can engage this glute. So whatever leg you're stretching, see if you can engage the glute. And then you want to get a little bit more, you can bring the hands up. I can do a lateral bend, even open up into the side a little bit more. Yeah, that's always a good stretch on me. All the spinning I've done, the cycling I've done over the years, especially spinning, that area tends to get really, really tight because of all those motions that coming up and over. And that one, that's a really good stretch. But so this quick reminder here, on that half kneeling hip flexor stretch, line up here, come forward, and then try to engage the glutes. If that's not enough, bring an arm up, maybe both arms, lateral bend the opposite direction. And man, that really gets a nice stretch. It's a really good stretch. Okay, so let's move on to the lower leg. So the lower leg, you have something that's called the soleus, which is way down here at the bottom of the ankle on the back side. And in order to get that area, it's also called the Achilles area, you've got to be in a bent leg position. The other one that we're going to do is a straight leg. So there's actually 2 ways to get that lower leg. And I'm going to turn you this way a little bit so you guys can see how I line up. I think that's good. So I'm going to come over here to this position here, and I'm going to be about that far away from this pillar. And the goal is to keep my heel down as my knee tracks over the middle toes of my foot. And I'm going to see if I can keep my heel down and then stretch the back area here. So if I can easily touch the wall, then I want to scoot back a little bit. So I would start off kind of close to the wall, and then once I feel it stretching, I'm going to hold it right there. And so, as I mentioned before, this is getting this area back here. And even just coming down into a kneeling position works. So I can actually kind of press down with my forearm on my thigh, and that helps get that area a little bit. Do you guys see that? Let me see if I can turn it this way a little bit. Maybe that would be a little bit better. Yeah. So here I am. It's a little bit better position. So now I want to keep the heel down, drive the knee forward, and then I can even kind of press down on my thigh to help keep that heel down. And that's getting a really good stretch. Now, again, that is not causing any high amount of tension where things are feeling like they're tearing. So I was really pressing down, but I barely felt any stretch back there. So that was actually a pretty good position for me. I actually could probably come back a little further. Put my towel down here since that was a little uncomfortable. And then again, make sure your foot's pointing straight ahead, knees coming forward, and then I'm trying to, yeah, so that's a little bit better of a stretch for me, okay? So then next, let's do the standing one. So now, slide you back here a little bit. Thanks for bearing with me in my videography this morning. So now, this leg and the back leg here is the one I'm after right now. So now I'm going to get a little bit higher up. Bent leg's going to get a little bit lower. I'll show you from this direction here. Let's see if I get everybody in there. So now, I just want to hold that position where the leg is straight. And again, I want to keep the foot completely flat. And again, I'm going to hold that stretch for about 20-30 seconds. And then I don't want to let them go too far where it feels like things are tearing. So you got lower leg. I gave actually two examples of lower leg. You can do it standing or you can do it from a kneeling position. And then you got the standing leg calf. I even see at the club we had that little ledge on the upper floor down by the pool doors upstairs, and then some people let their feet hang off. That's another great way to stretch. And so now we're moving on to the thoracic spine, which is actually called your mid-spine, right around the shoulder blade area. Move you back so you can see me when I'm laying down. So on this one, whoops, just the wrong one. So I'm just going to grab this. So ideally you want to have something that helps keep your top leg up a little bit. So you've got one leg. Actually, this one is a little bit different, but I'm going to show you a couple different options. So I'm going to sideline here, and I'm going to have both my hands here, okay? And then, so now, I'm going to bring, and you get a little bit of shoulder in here as well. I'm going to roll this, my lower, upper back, shoulder blade area, dragging the hand along slowly until I get into this position right here. And what I'm trying to do, guys, is get this other shoulder blade down, get the entire upper back on the floor, okay? And this is where you may need a pillow or a yoga block right here, so this doesn't drop down and cause more pain in your lower back. So this is really to get the mid-spine area. Once you get into this position, now what I would advise is that you get about 3 or 4 deep breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Nice elongated breaths once you're in this position. And that one is a really good one. But it also gets some shoulders in there too, and the chest, as you drag that hand over the side. I'll show you from this side. So I've got both hands here. I'm going to bring this arm up slowly, and so my right shoulder blade is down. The goal is to try and get that left shoulder blade down. When I get into the position, now I'm just going to relax, work on my breathing. Like one breath cycle, inhale to the nose, exhale to the mouth, probably should take about 6 seconds. So inhaling for 3, exhaling for 3, 6 seconds. You do that 3 or 4 times, and you've got your time allotment there. All right, so now we're going to go to the chest. A couple of different ways to get the chest that I have illustrated here for you. So let's bring this guy back over here so you can see that pillar. Yeah, I think that'll work. And so the first option is right here. I've got my arm at this position. I'm going to stand next to the wall or the pillar or door frame, and I'm going to slowly start to rotate out this way. So I see how my feet are now positioned that way. And then you want to engage your abs so you don't strain the lower back, and then just hold this position for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then you could also go where your hand Just right on the wall. And again, this is not much of a stretch, but as I start to turn my hips, turn my head, now I get a little bit of a neck, down into the chest, front of the shoulder, all the way down into the arm. And now let's get a nice stretch. So you could do actually both of those. You could do this one first. And again, not much of a stretch here. You could even bring the arm up a little bit to get a little bit more of a stretch already. And then I start turning those hips. That's what's going to get that stretch. Okay. That is an area, that's an area, guys, that I think most people need, is to get that chest area. Oh, that sun is bright today. Feels good though. All right, then, so I don't have my stability ball, and you don't really have to have a stability ball for this next stretch for the lats. The lat is another name for your back, and the big muscle that attaches here in the lower back wraps around and comes up underneath and attaches right inside the armpit here. And so that's the big muscle. I mean, it's like huge. And so when you go to grab like a pull down bar and you pull down this way, or do a pull up or a chin up, that is a big muscle, and those get really tight. If that muscle gets really tight, it actually can pull you into this type of position here, which I have that arch position. So I'm going to bring this chair over here, real easy. Get my mat, so I'll move everything else instead of it. So now I'm going to put one arm on the ground and one arm on the chair with my thumb facing up. And I'm already starting to feel a nice stretch here, just being in this position. But then what I can do now is to start to lean into that side, keeping my hand pressed into the chair or the ball. And see how I'm kind of like moving my body that direction? And that feels really good. And you can even change the hand position. You can go palm down and then do the same thing. And then I would do that, kind of slowly go into that stretch and do that for about 20, 30 seconds per side. And I'll say this, guys, so I always say this in the stretches that I do after my spin class on Saturdays. I go through stretches one time, but I'll say this, that you can do these stretches in sets. So like we go back to the glute stretches that we did, on the back line, or that you go into the pigeon or the 90-90. You could do where, let's say I'm going to do 3 sets of 20 seconds holding stretch. So I just did one, right? So if I'm really tight in that area, then I'm probably going to do more sets. If I'm not real tight, then I don't really need to work on it that much. And you'll know real quick what areas are really tight, because when you get into it, it's like, I couldn't do that stretch that well, and it was really tough. So you might want to get some foam rolling in, some trigger point release in those areas first, and then go into this type of holding stretch second. So guys, that is my little stretch routine. And like I said, these are the stretches that we would administer, suggest to you depending on what areas of the body are tight. I have no idea where you're tight. I went over the entire body here, so I'm not real sure where you're tight, but as you're doing each stretch, you'll find out really quick which tight, and then those are the areas you can kind of focus in on a little bit more. So guys, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you learned a little bit something today, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 for another workout, number 22. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless you.